Most people are familiar with the phrase RMD. It stands for Required Minimum Distribution. But what they're not familiar with is how we can use those RMDs for our benefit and how sometimes a little bit of planning can unlock an immense amount of opportunities for those RMDs to not be as hurtful as they could be without any planning. So I'm going to start from the very beginning and explain what a required minimum distribution is. So as the law stands today, once you reach the age of 73, you are required by federal law to start taking distributions out of your IRAs, 401ks, tax qualified accounts. It used to be 70 and a half, then it went to 72, now it's 73, and in 2035 it goes to 75. But as it stands today, at the age of 73, the IRS is saying, hey, look, that money has sat tax deferred long enough. It is time to pay the piper. You owe us money and we're coming for it. So the year we turn 73, we are required by federal law to start making distributions or withdrawals from our qualified retirement accounts. On average, it starts at about 4%. We're going to use a nice simple number to make it easy. So for example, if we have $100,000 in an IRA, we need to withdraw $4,000 that year and have it be taxed as ordinary income in order to satisfy the RMD rules. If we don't make the RMD and Uncle Sam catches us, there is a very steep penalty. You do not want to miss an RMD. Now, here's the challenging part. Most Americans have never created what we would refer to as an RMD maximization plan. And if you don't have a plan to make the most of your RMDs or to reduce the tax impact those RMDs is going to have, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is if you don't have a plan, someone else does, and they'll totally let you borrow their plan. The bad news is that person is the IRS. So if you don't have a plan for your RMDs, if you don't have a plan to minimize the taxation of your RMDs, if you don't have a plan to be proactive on your RMDs, Uncle Sam said, don't worry, you can borrow my plan for you. And they will happily let you use their plan for your money. And guess who is probably going to benefit the most? You guessed correctly, Uncle Sam. And the challenge with the required minimum distributions is there's no one-size-fits-all approach. We have some clients who are doing something called a qualified charitable donation, where we can use our RMDs to make donations to 501c3s or tax-favored charities every single year. And there are great benefits for doing that. But some institutions don't allow you to do it. Some plans don't allow you to do it. So we have to verify your situation. Some clients know that they're not going to need their RMD and they don't want to be forced to take the money out. In fact, let me share a simple story with you. We met with a wonderful couple years ago who ended up working with our firm, but they came in and one of the things they were very proud of was the fact that they had no RMD issues, no tax issues, because they could leave their money alone for as long as they were retired because they were fortunate. They had pensions and they had Social Security. So between the two of them, all of their income needs were met because they were one of the fortunate ones that still had pensions. These guys were in their mid-60s when we first met. And they were right. Their pensions, their Social Security, it covered all of the income they were going to need throughout their entire retirement. But what their investment guy was missing from the conversation in the false sense of security that they came in with was this idea that they would never have a tax problem because they're never going to need to touch their money. Well, here's the challenge, everyone. The lion's share of their money, we're talking close to $1 million, was inside of a tax qualified account. So although they didn't have a plan to make withdrawals, the IRS did. And that has a conversation that was never brought into their investment planning. It, number one, shows the need to make sure that all 5 pillars of a true plan are being addressed, not just investments, but also income, taxes, healthcare, and legacy. But the ticking tax time bomb for this wonderful couple was the fact that their IRA money had over 7 years to grow before they were going to be required to start taking out money. And we knew that with their situation, they were going to need to take out nearly $70,000 based on some growth projections and simple math on how they were invested. That is a ticking time bomb because you take their pensions, their Social Security, you add in even more taxable income, that's a problem waiting to happen. The good news is we were proactive. We showed how all 5 pillars connect to each other, and we made some changes to avoid those issues before they reach the age of 73. So I'm going to reiterate again, if you don't have a strategy to minimize your RMDs in retirement or to possibly eliminate them in retirement, if you don't have a strategy to reduce the tax burden those RMDs will create for you once you're 73, Uncle Sam will let you borrow their plan, and their plan will benefit Uncle Sam more than it benefit you, the charities you care about, your family, your grandkids. Guys, it's a very simple fix if we are proactive and put together a strategy. One of my favorite phrases my dad used to always say is he'd say, small hinges move big doors. Sometimes with just a little bit of strategy, a little bit of planning, and a little bit of forethought, we can reduce tax burdens by tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, Uncle Sam may not be super happy about that, but I can tell you our clients are. So if you don't have an RMD strategy or an RMD maximization plan in place, I encourage you, that's why you would want to come sit down with our team of advisors. Let's see how our retirement readiness assessment can help you feel more confident to retire and reduce the impact of those taxes on the future RMDs. Maybe we could eliminate them, maybe we can get rid of them altogether, or maybe we can just put together strategies to reduce the impact they create down the road. But we want to make sure you have a proactive strategy for your RMD so that the plan works how you want it to, and you're in control of your retirement versus the IRS.